It's Rusty. Rusty the man.
What do you want?
Are you Daryl?
Yeah.
Daryl, just the man I need. Daryl, my name is Rusty. I'm a senior benefit coordinator. I've been assigned your request. I have the benefits package you requested. May I come in?
Well, yeah, that looks like my signature.
Okay.
Come on in.
All right, thank you.
Pretty busy today, but
Are you?
all right.
Nice place you have here, Daryl.
Well, this is my wife, Iris.
Hi, Iris. How are
This
you?
is Rusty Westfall.
Rusty. Nice
Rusty.
to meet you. Yes, ma'am.
Good to meet you.
Daryl, is it all right if we sit at that kitchen table right back there?
Yeah, that'd be as good as any.
All right.
Kind of busy, but I understand. I fill that form out.
Okay, Daryl, would you like to sit? You and Iris like to sit right here? Would that be all right?
Yeah, that's as good as any.
All right. So how long you guys been here in the neighborhood?
About 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
You originally from Lincoln County?
Not really.
No?
I retired here, and I traveled all over the Midwest and the Eastern United States working for the oil companies, native processing.
Really?
Yeah.
Computers?
Yep.
I'll be darned. So how long ago did you retire?
Let's see, it's been 15 years ago.
I see. So what have you been doing in your retarded days?
Well, I've been planting pecan trees.
Have you really?
Yeah.
That'll keep you busy.
Well,
Tell you what, you can't beat the price either.
well, they're pretty expensive, but
Yeah.
I give them away.
I might know an extra person who could take a few off your hands.
Well,
So if you're not originally from here, where are you originally from?
well, I was born over here at Kearney on this side of Stillwater.
Oh, okay, so you are originally from this area.
Yeah,
You just moved away and then came back home, is that right?
that's right.
I got you.
For years we've been gone. My wife's from New Mexico.
Okay. New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
home of Carlsbad Caverns,
Yes,
right?
and the artesian
Where a bat
robots.
needs a friend. I know a little something about Carlsbad.
Hmm.
So, do you still have a lot of family around these parts, Daryl?
Yes, we got a lot of kin folks around
Yeah.
here. Second and third cousins.
Wow.
We got two
Is that why
uncles.
you retired back here in Lincoln County? Is that why you came back home? Was it because of family?
Yes, and memories.
Mm-hmm.
Got to retire somewhere.
Sure. So you have brothers, sisters, kids? of your own?
I've got a brother over at Claremore, and sister passed away about 10 years ago.
I see. Sorry to hear that.
Well, that's all right.
It's 10 years ago?
No, it's more like 15 to 20.
15 to
15
20.
to
I
20.
can't. It's been a while back. It's been a long time.
So Daryl says here,
49.
so you're 74, right?
I'm 70. Will be 73
73,
in
turn-
July.
Okay, so you're 74. Gotcha. Okay. So if your sister passed away about 15, 20 years ago, then she was probably in her 50s.
She was 49.
49.
49?
Yeah.
Good night. How did she pass?
She had lupus, and which is it's a disease, and she had a stroke, and her lungs filled up with fluid, and that's how she passed away.
Very sorry to hear that at such a young age. So you've got a living brother who lives in Claremore,
Claremore, Oklahoma, yeah,
and you're from New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So is that where all your family's still at?
No, most of them are in Houston.
Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I
Got
went
one
from New Mexico down to Houston. All right, brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Both brothers in Houston. The sister is in New Mexico, Albuquerque.
So you got one living sibling, and you have how many
How many what?
siblings?
Live.
Four.
Four.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any kids?
We've got two,
Really?
yeah.
Where do they stay at?
Well, one of them is in Vancouver, Canada. the oldest boy, and then I've got another son that's in Illinois. He just left Missouri and moved across the border on the other side of St. Louis.
So your boys kind of flew the coop on you guys.
Yeah, I
When
raised
they
them.
moved out of home, they said, I'm getting out of here.
Well, I raised my boys to take care of themselves and leave home.
Yeah.
The only thing, I just didn't know they would go so far.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I say they went quite a distance. Now, do you still keep in close contact with your boys?
Well, I don't see the one in Vancouver. That's an all-day plane trip up there, and it's pretty expensive.
Right, yeah.
But the one in Illinois, we get to see quite often, and we enjoy
Mhm.
to get to see our two grandsons.
That's good. So we got grandkids too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
got great grandkids.
So what are your sons? Do they have families of their own? So you said your one son has kids of his own, so you got grandkids. How about your other one?
The oldest,
I guess.
the one in Vancouver, has
Sure.
2 kids, has a boy and a girl. And the one in Illinois has 4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2 are in Oklahoma City, and the other 2 are in Illinois.
Gotcha.
They kind of started the second family.
Sounds like you guys are very rich people, if you understand what I mean. Got precious family, grandkids.
Well, the Lord's always taken care of us, so we never been without food.
Yeah, well, that's good. You got to eat.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, you know, at the end of the day, Daryl, that's what this is about. This is about your family.
yeah,
This is about the high cost of funerals and cremations and final expenses, and all about your family and for you guys to start having some peace of mind for once, which I trust is what you guys are looking to have. Is that right?
yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
yeah.
very good. So, Daryl, you know, typically when people inquire into this program, it's one of 4 reasons why. I just want to find out which page I'm on with you.
Okay.
But either A, these folks ain't got no coverage in place, they don't have anything. Or B, they have some, they just don't feel like they have enough. Or C, they have plenty of insurance, they're just trying to find a cheaper rate. Or D, they've got plenty of that and they're fine with it, they just want a whole separate plan, primarily to cover like their funeral, their cremation, you know, their final expenses.
Yes.
So Daryl, out of those 4, which one of those 4 is with you and Iris?
Well, we're pretty much in self-sufficient. We when we filled that out, probably was thinking along the lines of what could be offered to us, but we have enough money that we could be buried. We wouldn't have to be cremated, and wanted to see what you had because we've got a lot of things to go through, like cemetery plots and trying to find out a funeral director, you know, that's honest, and what that's all going to cost to give an idea. And I think that's why I filled it out. I wanted to get an idea of what all this is going to cost me, because we're getting near that time now.
So, if I understand you correctly, what you just told me is that you have plenty of money to be able to fund it.
Yes.
You just want to make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row, so when you and Iris die, not if, but when you die,
Yeah.
you just want to make sure you don't leave a burden on your boys. Is
That's
that
right. That's exactly right.
Gotcha.
Because you know, if we could get all that bundled up and maybe even some extra money for the deal with this insurance, 'cause we don't have any insurance at all.
Okay.
Don't feel like we need it, but it'd be
So you
nice
have
to
money
have
saved
some.
up, you just don't
We
have
have
any
money
insurance.
saved up. We just don't have any insurance.
So it's
yes.
really 1 and 4.
Yes.
So you have no coverage, not that you need it, but if you can have some sort of plan or policy in place to fund that and also take care of the arrangements, that's kind of what we're thinking.
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Daryl, what this is I'm just going to ask you a few more general questions to better understand you and Iris' situation and what your needs are. And we'll
Okay.
just go from there, okay? Now, before I go any further, I guess one of the things that I want to ask you, Daryl, and I just want you guys to be honest with me, as I already know you will, is who do you feel is the one that's primarily responsible for paying for your funeral, your cremation, you know your last rites?
Yeah.
Is it you guys? Is it your sons? Is it your
Well, it'd
brothers
be,
and sisters?
no, I feel like it'll have to be my youngest son because he's here in the States.
So you're saying he's the one that should pay for it?
Yes, he will be able to pay for it with what we have saved.
Okay, so you're saying that you should pay for it. He's going to be the overseer then.
He'll be the
Who do you think's-
administrator, yes.
Okay. But who do you feel should actually come out of pocket for your funeral expenses? Is it you or your son?
No,
Family?
it will be me,
It will be. Okay.
but,
And I'm not disagreeing with you, Daryl. I mean, I agree with you actually. Why? Why do you feel it should be you guys to pay for it?
well, it depends on which one of us goes first. And whoever's left over, whether it be her or me, then when,
All right, Daryl, here's the deal. I always pick on the guys. So you die first, God forbid.
okay,
Your wife is the survivor, but then when she dies,
somebody has
then
to
who's
take
gonna
care of
pay?
it.
Who's gonna pay for her funeral?
It'll be my youngest son.
Okay, so he should be the one, him and his family, to pay for you guys' funeral. You're okay with leaving that burden on him?
Yes, because by that time, my youngest son should have his name on the checkbook, and the money that's coming in from Social Security for her, and also a pension that I have left, a joint pension in her name also.
Okay, I
So
think you're just misunderstanding the question.
Right.
So the point you're making is, ultimately, you're gonna be paying for it. He's gonna be the executor to
yes,
oversee it.
yes, yes.
But you don't feel him and his family should pay for you or your wife's funeral.
No,
You guys should cover it.
yes,
He's just gonna execute it.
that's correct.
Why do you feel that it's important for you guys to pay for it and not him?
Well, because we have the money. We've been fortunate, the Lord's taken care of us in that we have that money to be able to afford our own funeral. A lot of people don't have that, majority don't have that. We're lucky that we have that, but once we're both gone, somebody's gotta finish the job.
Right.
And so that's why
Which is
our
actually my
youngest
next
son.
question, but you just answered it. So the next question is, who do you want to have? Which person is going to be in charge of handling all you folks' final arrangements for when you die? So that is going to be your youngest son?
The youngest son.
Okay, what's his name?
His name is Rusty.
I mean, Randy?
Randy, Randy, yes. Randy.
Okay. So Randy's the one in Illinois.
Yes, yes.
So what does he do?
Well, he does odd jobs. He's a ditch digger and he plants flowers and stuff. He's got his own gardening supply house, and
Gotcha.
he kind of does stuff like that.
Ditch digger, huh? So he must be in
Yeah.
pretty good shape.
Well, when he's not doing that, I think he's stocking groceries at night.
So he's working a couple of jobs. Just
Yes,
to be able to
yes,
make ends
to
meet
make
then.
ends meet, yes.
So your son and his family, they're on a fixed income themselves.
Yeah, yes,
If
yes.
he's working a couple of jobs, just trying to
He's
make
having
ends
a
meet.
hard time, yes.
How's his health holding up?
Well,
So what is he in his 40s? So if you're 73,
he'd be
74,
in his
40s or
40s, wouldn't
50s?
he's in his 40s,
46,
46, and he
46 and 49, I believe.
he's not in too good a shape. He's got bad feet, so I don't know how much longer he can stock groceries
Mhm.
and be on his feet. Or
Could be
Yeah.
on disability then one day.
well, he's not on disability yet, but he's headed there, I think.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad to hear your son's at least doing good enough to where he's working a couple of jobs and still trying to
Yeah.
make ends meet. So now we were looking into this for both you and for Iris. Is that right? Or
Yes.
just were we more worried about
No,
one?
it'd
For
be
both
both
of you?
of us.
Okay. So Daryl, you're 73, and it shows your birthday falls in July.
Yes,
Okay,
July
good.
30th.
I'm glad I caught you before your next birthday, Daryl.
Yeah,
As you know, especially with men, once you get to a certain age, every year you turn a year older makes a huge difference in the rates and the kind of benefits you qualify for. So you're 73 now, that's a good thing.
No, 72. I'll be 73 July 30th. I'm sorry, I misquoted that. 72 now, be 73.
And so Iris is actually 74. It's what
She's
you put down here.
74, yes.
Okay, and you're turning, you turned 75, and so you just had a birthday back in April.
Yes, April the 8th.
Happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now you say you don't have any other life insurance, no
Don't
life
have
insurance, no
anything.
burial coverage,
Nothing.
no final expense coverage. You ain't got
Nothing.
nothing.
The only thing I've got is a trust set up, and that's it. I haven't
Okay.
got the other. I've got to get that done, the burial plots and all that stuff.
Daryl, have you ever purchased life insurance before?
Yes, I have.
You have.
Yes.
Okay. How long ago was the last policy that you had?
Oh, golly, it's been about 15 years ago. It was a whole life policy, and I cashed it in. But I've always been confused between a whole life and a if you die policy. You know what I mean? They call it a. You know, I always carried insurance with the company, so if something happened to me, my wife and boys would be taken care of.
Sure.
But it wasn't a whole life policy. It didn't. Once you quit paying, it ended.
So you're saying you had a whole life policy? Or you
Yes,
didn't?
I did have for years, and before that, I had just regular life insurance through the company.
Okay. So group insurance. like
Group
term-
insurance, yes,
Term
yes,
insurance policy.
yes,
Gotcha.
yes, term.
Listen, you always take advantage of any insurance that's offered through your employer.
Yeah,
It's
it was
pennies to the
cheap.
dollar.
It was
Absolutely.
real cheap.
Problem is that it's temporary. So when you
Yes,
quit or
it
retire
was.
from your employer, then you don't get to keep
It
your
was
benefits.
gone. I found that out. Yes.
But you had a whole life insurance policy and you cashed it in about
Yes,
15 years ago?
yes. Yeah, I,
Gotcha.
at the time
What did you have the whole life insurance policy for? What was your reason for taking it out back then when you had it?
well, my dad sold BMA, Businessmen's Insurance, life insurance, and it was to help him out, and I didn't know anything about it, so I just bought the policy. And,
Trying to help out Pops.
Trying to
huh?
help him out,
Okay.
yes, I did.
Right.
And so, but I didn't know it had a cash value to it, and I didn't think anything about it. I was just trying to help him out, and then I started getting statements, and that thing started building up. And then when he passed away, shortly before he passed away, he quit selling insurance for Businessmen's Insurance, and so I just cashed it in and put it in the bank.
Yeah.
So I had no reason for selling
If
it.
I would have caught you 15 years ago, I would have said, Daryl, hold on to that policy.
I probably should have.
Probably. You know, devil's in the details, but it's neither here nor there. So, you know, that we don't have any coverage, but you say you don't understand the basic differences of
Yeah,
life
what is the
insurance
difference
term
in
and whole.
And what I had with the company
Gotcha.
and
Well,
what
I'll keep
your,
this real simple. So, look, when it comes to planning your last rites, one of the first things that you need to do is understand the basic differences of what they call a term life insurance policy to a whole life insurance policy, because those are the two most common types of policies that are sold out there on the market. And if you don't understand the difference, you're going to do what everybody else does, and you're going to think, well, life insurance is life insurance, and what you pay is what you pay, what it's worth is what it's worth. So you just keep paying what you pay until you die, right?
right,
Problem is that if that's how you think life insurance works, and you're going to shop around all these companies trying to see who's going to give you the most amount of coverage for the cheapest rate, right?
right,
Okay. Look, life insurance can get extremely complicated. It can be very overwhelming. There's many different kinds of life insurance policies that are sold on the market, from the term to the whole. You've got variable, you've got universal, you've got a combination of VUL, you've got equity index life insurance. With whole, you got participating, non-participating. List goes on and on and on. And before you know it, you're overwhelmed. It's too complex. I want to keep this extremely simple. I want to keep it on a very kindergarten basis for you, okay, Daryl? But the two most common basic types of life insurance that you're gonna come across is what they call a term life and a whole life. And these two types of policies, they are as opposite as night is to day, black is to white, literally. Now, term life, it's the cheapest life insurance that anybody can purchase. The reason why term is so cheap is because it's a temporary policy. It's not a permanent policy. As a matter of fact, they call it term because term is the abbreviation for terminate. At some point down the road, Daryl, that policy is going to terminate. It's going to cancel. It's going to expire on you. Term, another way to understand it is you don't own this policy. You're just borrowing it. You're renting the policy, okay? So there's two kinds of term insurance policies you'll come across. And one is good for a designated set number of years. So for instance, you could do a 5-year term. You can get a policy that's only good for 5 years. And if you died during those 5 years, yeah, it'll pay out. But if you live 5 years in one day, on that one day, it's going to terminate. It's going to expire. It'll cancel out on you. Okay? You can do a 10-year term, 15. You can go all the way up to a 30-year term. And I have a 30-year term on me. So I'm not saying the term is bad, that it's evil, that you should stay away from it. That's bad. I'm not saying that at all. All life insurance policies, Daryl, they all serve a specific purpose. It depends on certain circumstances from age, income, health, what they want, what purpose the policy is going to serve, long-term, short-term goals, etc. But I have a 30-year term because I have 2 young children. I've got a 6 and an 8-year-old. And my wife and I, we both agreed that if we were blessed with a family, which we got 2 of them now, that we didn't want a daycare raising our kids. And so once she was in her 7th month of pregnancy with Sebastian, that's when she stopped working at the bank. And then she took on 3 full-time jobs raising our boys. She works 3 times harder than I do, and I admit that. But the problem is she don't draw an income. Now the reality is I'm just like your son. I'm 46. I don't take a stick of medication. There ain't a daggum thing wrong with me. I can't tell you the last time I was at a hospital. Daryl, after I leave here and I go to my next appointment, drunk driver could run a red light, hit me head on like that, kill me. Ain't got nothing to do with my age, ain't got nothing to do with my health. That was just me at the wrong place at the wrong time. So because I've got a 30-year term, I've got a huge policy. It's designed to allow my family to continue their current standard of living. Does that make sense? You follow what I'm saying here?
That's why I took it.
Okay, so I took mine out 8 years ago, which means I got 22 years left on it.
Okay.
So by the time my 6-year-old is 28, this policy will terminate. But I don't need it anymore. Because my 6-year-old, his butt better be out the door, out on his own, and not depending on mom and dad anymore, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's why I have a term, but the reality is I know there's a 98% chance that this policy will not pay a death claim when I die. So there's a 98% chance that every time I'm making my monthly premium payment, wherever your trash can is, I'm pretty much just throwing my money in the trash. But the reality is if my family comes first, if they are the single most important people to me in this world, then I can't afford not to have it. Okay? So all that junk mail, Daryl, that you get from like Globe, AARP, Colonial Penn, you ever get any of that garbage?
Yeah,
Sent
every
mail?
day.
They all expire at a certain age. Most of them expire around the age of 80. Okay, some 75, some as late as 90, which is Globe. Those mail order policies, those are the kind where every 5-year age bands, the rates go up, 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 up. But here's the bottom line. With term, once you've had it for so many years or once you live to a certain age, this is what happens. Policy cancels. And all the premiums, all the money, you already know where I'm going with this one, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't own the policy, you rent it, so you're not building any cash value. There's no equity. Kind of like what you had with the policy your dad sold you. Mm-hmm. So all that money you paid into it, it's gone. Mm-hmm. And now you don't have any more coverage. Whole life insurance, on the other hand, it's a lot easier to explain. Whole life insurance is a permanent policy. You own this policy, you're not renting it. They call it whole life because it's good for your whole life. Makes sense? Mm-hmm. Whole life is good for your whole life. Term will eventually terminate. But Daryl, on a whole life insurance policy, it don't matter who the insurance company is, it don't matter how small or how large that policy is worth. Once those things start, it ain't changing. It's locked in. So in other words, whatever your rates are, they're never going up. Whatever your death benefit is, it's never going down. As long as you keep that policy up to date and you keep it current, there's a 100% chance that that policy will stay with you forever or for your whole life. And without going into too much more detail, Daryl, that's the main difference or the basic differences between term and whole. So Daryl, is that starting to make a little bit more sense to you
Yes,
now?
yes, it is.
All right, good, good deal. So, do you don't have a pre-need plan through a funeral home? You haven't prearranged anything, is it?
No, I haven't.
That's what we're looking to
I have
accomplish. Daryl, are you a veteran?
No,
Okay. So let's talk about you and Iris's final wishes. What are your wishes? Are you wanting to be buried or are you wanting to be cremated? I think
we
you
want to
said
be buried. We want
You
to be buried.
Okay. Do you folks have a funeral home preference? Does that matter to you?
No, it doesn't at all. We get so much stuff in the mail from all these funeral homes around
Do
here.
you really?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Well, that's a good morning. How are you doing today? Come to Dauber's funeral home.
Yeah, yeah.
You're about to die, man.
Yeah, as we've gotten older, we're getting more of them.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So it doesn't matter
Yeah.
which funeral home you guys use. Okay, that's good. And you folks have not prearranged your final arrangements in advance yet. Have you or Iris at least completed a memorial guide?
Haven't completed
Anything
nothing.
like that?
Nothing.
Okay, girl, you understand how just extremely important that is, right?
Well, that's why we set up a trust.
Okay, the trust is more to protect your assets. I'm talking about the details of your funeral arrangements. Look, here's what you need to understand if you don't already. A person makes on average of 150 decisions with the funeral director within the first 48 hours after losing a loved one. 150. You lose, how many years you and Iris been together?
52.
52?
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations. That is phenomenal. That is quite an accomplishment. How precious. That's wonderful. So, your soulmate, your everything, and Iris always picking on the men, but the day your husband dies, it's done. It's gone. Okay? That's the worst time to make one decision, let alone 150. Wouldn't you agree with that? Okay. Color casket, viewing, services, cards, songs, everything. The list goes on and on and on. People don't plan to fail, they just simply fail to plan, and more families are torn apart due to a death than an actual divorce. Most of the time they got nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with the stupidest, most ridiculous thing. So, which is why we're here, right, Daryl? You just want to make sure everything's in line. So when you die, all your boys have to do is just make a couple of calls and everything else is done, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's my homework assignment for you. And I've got a memorial guide I'm going to leave you folks so we can start pre-planning all this stuff.
Okay.
Instead of saying, Rusty and what's your other son's name?
Lance.
Randy and Lance. There, you boys figure it out. And all it takes is one of them to have a disagreement on one decision. Now you got a family feud. Permanent scars.
Yeah.
Okay, so we haven't completed a memorial guide. We don't have anything pre-arranged in advance. We don't have a funeral home preference. Have you ever had any experience or any dealings in, taking care of somebody's funeral before? Have you ever been left with that responsibility?
Not really.
You never actually dealt with a funeral home?
No,
per
I
se,
didn't.
and
I
went
did
through that
not do
experience?
that. My brother took care of all of that. I didn't want to. I knew it would be a lot of
That was when
stuff.
you lost
My dad.
your dad.
He was the last one. Dad took care of Mom.
When did you lose your dad?
Let's see, 2013. In January of 2013.
Sorry to hear that. 7 years ago. How old was your dad?
89.
Oh, wow. So he lived a good long while.
Yes, he did.
God bless him. Okay. So 2013, but your brother, he primarily took care of all that. And you
He,
just,
he and his wife took care of all
Did
the
you-
arrangements.
did your dad have all his arrangements taken care of in advance, or did your
All he had was the same thing I have as a trust.
just a trust
Yeah.
to tell your assets where to
Yes,
go and
yes,
all that?
yes.
Got it. Okay. Do you and Iris, are you folks wanting to have a viewing or to have services, or are we thinking more of direct burial where there is no viewing or no services?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest with you. We're getting at an age where, and we've moved around so much, we've only been here 11 years, and that I haven't really thought about a viewing at all. If it's me, I wouldn't care for a viewing, because the close friends that I have in the schools that I went to have already passed away. My best friends, they're already gone. And so, you know, I'm relatively new around here.
But you've been here 11 years?
11 years, and I'm real close to my neighbors, but you know what, it's not like having known somebody all your life, you know what I mean?
Okay. So you haven't given much thought.
Haven't given
So-
any, hardly,
Here's-
all I know is that I know where we want to be buried.
Okay, let's talk about that. What cemetery you want to be buried
We'll
in?
be buried at the Agra Cemetery.
Agra?
Agra Cemetery.
Do you own your plots?
Not yet.
You do not.
We're going to have to.
My advice to you, Daryl, is to secure those as soon as possible.
We're going to.
So
we're
that's
going to.
1, 2, 3 less pieces of red tape that your
No,
sons
we
have to go
will,
through.
I will take care of that. I guarantee you, I will
Okay, so
take
we know what we want it to be. We
That's
just have to
next
purchase
on my
the property.
list, is the plots, securing the plots.
Okay.
And then also, after I do that, I want to get secured the headstone
Okay.
with both our names on there and our birth dates. So all they have to do is when I leave this with my son, they just put a date.
So you want to do
when I
like a
pass away.
companion monument with
Yes,
both
it
you
will.
and Iris on there?
Yeah. And
Okay.
my wife and I have already talked it over. We want an inscription that says, faithful unto death. Wasn't that it, honey?
Close, but
What?
not quite.
What did you-
Faithful unto death?
What was it, honey?
No, okay.
It's a Bible verse. Be ye faithful.
Be thou faithful.
So Daryl,
Unto
do you
death.
understand how important these details are now? Now is your,
Yeah.
if
yeah.
you have an idea of what you want,
Yes,
how's
and
everybody
I
else
haven't
gonna
got
know?
that, I haven't got that far yet.
I'm not here to play Grim Reaper or anything, Daryl. I mean, but the reality is that, say the next time you and Iris go into town, church, and go back to that drunk driver accident, hit you head on, kill you both. How
Yeah.
your son's gonna know all these things?
Well,
Well, you understand the point that I'm
yes,
making.
I understand the
So,
point, yeah.
you don't need to
Yes,
answer
yes,
that, kind of a
yes,
rhetorical
yes, yes.
question, so, all right. The good news is that we can start working on this today, okay? You know, so, but the planning piece, in my opinion, is more important, just as important, if not more important than the funding piece. You know, because of the decisions and the permanent scars it leaves the family. Did I make the right decision? Is that really mom or dad what they really would have wanted? So we're not sure if we want to have a viewing or services yet.
No, not.
If you knew you were going to die today was going to be the day you take your last breath when you're out here on the tractor, what would you tell your wife to do? Have a viewing? Have services or no? If you had to make a decision right now,
I had to make a decision right now.
what would you tell her to do?
I'd tell her just bury me.
Okay?
I mean, that's what I'd say.
Okay. You know, and we don't have to put this in stone. It just,
Yeah.
at least we have kind of a vague idea as far as what the wishes are. Iris, what do you want? Would you want a viewing? Would you want services? Or would you just want to,
I haven't thought very much about that either, so
why not?
I don't know, I just rely on Daryl for everything, and he
Well,
gives
it's
me.
your body, it's your wishes, so what
Well,
would
true,
you want, not what he
But
wants?
my body's not gonna be, anything.
I-
Of this world.
I got you.
It'd
I
be a
understand where you're
spiritual
going.
body.
So Daryl, what is it that concerns you and Iris the most about your funeral arrangements? Is it the funding, is it the planning, or is it kind of a combination of both?
Well, the funding, I'm not worried about. The planning would be more important.
Gotcha, okay. All right. How long have you and Iris been thinking about this, trying to get this taken care of once and for all?
About 2 years ago,
2 years?
yeah.
It's a long time. What happened 2 years ago? You seem to be pretty specific
Well,
about that.
I don't have the energy that I used to have and the stamina, and I get tireder easier, and I see, I'll tell you the biggest reason. My best friends have passed away. Our best friends have passed away. People we've known all of our life have passed away, and then we from our schools, we get on the internet and we find out who's passed away, and every time we turn around now, every week there's a funeral, it seems like, of people we've known all of our life. So about 2 years ago, we got to thinking, well, our time's getting short, and if you look at the tables, the death tables, as I'd call them, we're pretty old, in our 70s. A lot of people did not make that. A lot of our friends
Sure.
are gone in their 60s,
Right.
and some in their 50s.
Sounds
So
like
that's
we lost
why
a lot.
2 years ago, the realization that we weren't going to be around very long, that cancer, or like you said, an automobile accident could take us out of the picture. So
Sounds like you've been through a lot of death lately, friends and
a
family.
lot of things, a lot of,
Sorry to hear
yes,
about
yes. Matter of fact,
So Daryl, I've got to ask you, to me, when you've been thinking about it, worrying about it, kind of dwelling on it for more than a half a year, and you're telling me 2 years,
yes.
why haven't you taken care of this up to this point?
Well, just you procrastinate. You know what I mean. You put it
It's
off.
easy to kind of put off the funeral
You don't
expenses.
wanna-
I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Right.
and you get all this stuff in the mail, and it's depressing. And I'm a pretty positive guy.
Right, are you?
I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a lot of fun to be
I'm
around.
right there with you. Yeah.
And I don't like all this funeral home stuff they send me in the mail.
I
and
wouldn't either.
I don't like getting on the internet and finding out who's died lately. And
Right, yeah.
but I grew up in western Oklahoma. My two best friends are gone that I grew up with and known all my life, and they're both passed. One in an automobile accident, and the other one, I hate to say it, literally drank himself to death. They found him dead out in the field, and so anyway, I don't go back. I haven't been back there hardly since, because they're gone. They're not there
I
anymore.
understand. Sorry to hear that. Daryl, you and Iris, I know you're fully retired now, so we're drawing Social Security in addition to pensions, right?
I've got a pension that is 100%. If something happens to me, and as well as you know, as well.
That's fine, I don't need to know the details on it.
Okay, well,
Daryl,
she gets it all. Most pensions a man gets, he puts 100% on himself. His wife doesn't get anything. Well,
Right.
mine's not that way.
okay, and I'm not here to help you with your financial planning, I'm just.
Well, I
here-
know that,
so,
but
when you
that's,
receive your pension and your Social Security, does it come on the 1st or the 3rd, or are you getting that on a certain Wednesday?
my pension comes the last day of the month, and last week on the 22nd, my Social Security came up, and her Social Security comes, I think, about the second week of each month.
Second Wednesday, got it.
Yeah.
So is that direct deposit, does it go directly to a bank, a credit union, or one
Goes
of those debit
straight
cards?
goes straight into our bank account,
Okay,
our checking account.
checking account, gotcha, okay. So, I guess one final question I want to know is, on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being the most important, and 1 not even a little bit, scale of 1 to 10, how important is this to you to have this taken care of in advance?
Oh, I would say 5 or 6. And the reason I put it right there in the middle is because you never think about something happening, but I think about, well, it's probably gotten higher lately, because I wouldn't want my wife taking care of it, and the burden would fall mainly on me, but I guess I put it off because I don't like to think about, you know, if you feel like you've got more time than you do. Does that make sense?
How much of it, on a scale of 1 to 10, priority? How much of a priority?
It'd be
is
about a
this?
7
Okay.
in importance.
Your wife Iris or your son Randy. Let's stick with your wife. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is she to you?
Well, very important. My whole
52
life.
years, you better.
Yeah.
Okay. So what number would you give it?
Huh?
What number would you give it? Your wife?
If she had to do it,
No. How important is Iris to you on a scale of 1 to 10?
it'd be a 10.
Would it be?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
What about your son Randy? Same question. Scale of 1 to 10.
Well, I don't know. I think, I don't know. Randy'd be a 7.
Okay.
My most important would be my wife.
Sure.
Randy's a 7.
Got you. Okay. It's fine. Appreciate the candor. Thank you for that.
Well, I'm being honest with you.
You know, if you're being honest with me, Daryl, I don't think you're being honest with yourself, because that's what this is about.
Yeah.
It's about her.
Yeah.
This is about your son. It's about your family.
Yeah.
We're talking about if you were to pass before your wife, if I'm just playing the ifs here, then we're saying, all right, Iris, here, you figure it out.
Yeah.
And we've already kind of reminded ourselves of the burden and the pain and having to go through all this mess that dealing with the funeral home, who we all know that is in the business of making money. They don't work for charity. And putting her through that burden, which is what you don't want to do, right?
That's true.
And you told me that you feel that you should be responsible for taking care of all this ahead of time.
That's true.
To protect the ones that you care about the
Okay.
most.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes, you're right.
If you want, okay, so let me ask you the same question. If they get the same answer, that's fine. If not, even better. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most important. Now, how important is this to you, Daryl?
Well, it'd be a 10.
Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah, I assume so.
Well, I agree with you. It should be.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. And Daryl, I want to first of all commend you and Iris for, first of all, having the foresight for taking care of your final arrangements in advance. Based on everything that you guys have shared with me, I have the perfect solution for what you guys have been looking for these past 2 years. And I think after 2 long years, Daryl, I think it's time for you and Iris to start having some peace of mind for once. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah? You sure?
Always like peace of mind.
All right. All right, very good. Well, Daryl, what we need to do is we need to determine what kind of benefits you and Iris qualify for, and that's going to be based on just a few basic health questions and your current age, and we'll go from there and see what we're dealing with, okay?
Okay.
How you guys like living out here in the country?
Love it.
Do you?
Live anywhere else.
What are you doing to stay busy these days, Iris?
Whatever I can.
If that was me, it would be not much.
Fish.
Fish? You do a lot of that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So, Iris, I always like to start with ladies first, okay? That's kind of my policy. So we'll look at you first, and then when we're done with you, we'll go over to Daryl here. Iris, what's your actual date of birth? April what?
April 8th, 1946.
here so you can follow along.
Okay, yes.
Okay. 1946, so that makes you 74 years young. And we're in Glencoe, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You were a female the last time we checked.
Yeah.
All right, Iris, when was the last time you spent the night in the hospital?
That's been years.
Oh boy, it's been a lot of years. I'd say 10 years ago for sleep apnea, she spent the night. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was the last time.
So it's been 10 years.
10
I've been
years.
in the hospital in the last 10 years outside of sleep apnea.
Yes.
No.
So you're doing good. Perfect. Okay. Over the years, what medical conditions have you been diagnosed with or are you currently being treated for?
Let's see. Got
Alzheimer's.
And really, that's just it. Insomnia.
Insomnia, that's a big one.
Okay, what else?
She, thyroid,
Thyroid, okay.
yes. Cholesterol,
Okay. What else?
I would say gastrointestinal, because there's times her stomach gets sick. They haven't found an answer to that one, but that's definitely a problem. And then the biggest one is herniated disc.
Okay. Anything else?
That pretty well
Okay.
wraps it. The herniated disc has the pain. You don't know when it's going to hit,
Sure.
but it's all over.
So anything that's really more life-threatening, like have you ever had any heart problems, lung problems,
No,
no respiratory, liver, kidney problems, circulation problems, nothing like that? Really?
yeah.
Okay. That is awesome. Never had cancer, never had a stroke,
No.
just the Alzheimer's, not sometimers? I got sometimers, you got Alzheimer's? Got it? He's got... Alright, that's awesome. I'll tell you what, Iris, sounds like you're doing pretty darn good at the young age of 74. Smoker, non-smoker?
No
Any
smoke.
form of tobacco or nicotine ever? No? Perfect. Okay. You said blood pressure, right? No, you didn't say blood pressure. Do you take any blood pressure medication?
No.
No.
Okay. So it's safe to say you have not had a blood pressure reading over 135/85 in the past 10 years then, if you're able to keep it under control. How tall are you?
5 feet.
5 feet? How much do you weigh on a good day?
100.
100? Well, you do not want to go outside on a windy day. You're liable to blow away. So 100 pounds. Iris, are you taking any prescription medications?
Yes.
You are? Okay.
Yes.
About how many?
Well, right now it's about 3.
3?
Mhm.
Okay, you say right now, so your medications have
Have
changed?
varied.
Have
yes.
they? Okay. Do me a favor, Iris, grab it. All the medications that have been prescribed to you going back as far back as you can remember, okay? Or if you have a list. But if you can grab the medication bottles or a list, either one, that'd be great.
I got 3
Do
bottles.
you want them now?
Yes. You can go grab that for me.
Okay, it'll be real easy. Be very simple.
Do you recall what medications that you are no longer taking that you were being prescribed?
No, she's taking them all, honey.
Yeah. All kinds of them.
So levothyroxine, that's your thyroid medication,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
okay? And we got Gabapentin.
Yes,
Is that for nerves?
Yes.
yes,
You're not a diabetic, are you?
No.
No seizures?
Nope.
no,
Estradiol, that's your hormone replacement?
yes,
Rosuvastatin, cholesterol.
yes.
Rosuvastatin. You know, I often joke by saying I think when they come up with names of these medications, they have alphabet cereal, and they just see what comes up on the spoon. Oh, that's what we're gonna name the medication. Yeah, that looks good. Rosuvastatin, that's a generic for Crestor. We'll just put
And this
Crestor.
one here is for joint inflammation.
Okay, hold on just a second, Drew.
Oh,
You get
sorry.
ahead of me. Got it. Okay, what was that?
And this one, with the pain gets real bad,
Yeah, that's a pain medication.
that's for pain and inflammation of her joints. Gets really bad, she gets that.
But not rheumatoid. You don't have rheumatoid arthritis. Right?
No,
Just more pain. Got it.
yeah,
Okay. You also mentioned that you have the Alzheimer's.
yes.
I don't see an Alzheimer's medication here. Are you taking Aricept, Namenda?
I forgot. We got it yesterday. Honey, where did you put it? It's,
You know what the name of it is?
yes, it's
Is
the
this
newest, it's the latest and
The
greatest.
latest and greatest. Okay.
Let me go get it.
Okay.
Here it is right here.
So you get the new and improved.
Prevagen. It's Prevagen.
Okay.
Prevagen.
There. Well, it's privacy. Prevagen.
Yes, it's, does better than that Aricept. It's, it has made a difference, that one has. Put this back up.
Okay. All right, perfect. Iris, I'm going to congratulate you by saying it looks like you qualify for one of our better plans, young lady,
Good.
which doesn't surprise me. Give me just a second, Darren. We'll start with you here in just a minute. Okay. All right, Darryl, you're up. Date of birth is, you said July what now?
30th,
What year?
1947.
Okay. Darren, when was the last time you spent the night in the hospital?
Let's see. I think it was when I was 18 years old.
No, Omaha.
Omaha, oh yes. That would've been 2000, so that was 20 years ago, yes.
Okay, so it's safe to say you have not been hospitalized 2 or more times in the past
Yeah,
10
it
years.
was 2000, the year
Yeah,
2000.
right. Both of you guys are what I would call disgustingly healthy, and that's a good
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So, okay. Have there been any medical conditions through the years that you've been diagnosed with or that you're being treated for?
No,
Nothing?
nothing.
Okay. No heart, liver, kidney,
Nothing,
circulation?
nothing.
From what you can remember all the time?
Nothing.
Like that?
Ain't got anything,
Okay. Non-smoker too, right?
right?
You don't do any of that tobacco stuff. How tall are you, Daryl?
6'1",
How much you weigh on a good day?
210.
You taking any prescription medications?
None,
Nothing.
nothing.
Have you had anything prescribed in the past 10 years? I know we're going back a ways, but
I take a medicine when I work so hard I get cramps at night.
okay.
That's it.
More like a pain medication?
No,
if
it's
you
for
will?
cramps. It's to
Inflammation?
relax you. No, I don't take
Just
any of
cramps? Okay. You know what it's called? You don't need to get it. It's not that big of a
that.
deal.
No,
Just,
matter of fact, I don't hardly take that. I don't take anything.
just something for
That's
cramps, right?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's not.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, Daryl. You were a lot easier.
Yeah,
Daryl, you see this right here?
yeah, yeah.
You know what this means?
No,
You're one of about 7% of the people that I see that qualify for one of the best daggum rates in the nation, period.
huh?
1 of 7.
Well, this is
7%. You're doing better than most people who are 20, 30 years younger than you.
well. I know that because they can't even work a half a day with me out
Yeah.
there.
Well, whatever it is that you've been doing to stay as young and healthy as you are, I tell you what, it is definitely paying dividends for you.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to both of you guys on that. All right. So here's how this thing's going to work. Okay. On the funding, this is a planning and funding program, and on the funding side, the insurance company, it's backed by Senior Life Insurance Company. So a little bit of background on them. So they're the 3rd largest final expense company in the country, and this is all they do, final expense.
Yeah,
This is a program designed for veterans and for seniors, those who are over the 50, primarily those who are on a fixed or limited income just like yourself. And they're not one of those life insurance companies that does a little bit of everything. Final expense is all we deal with. As a
yeah,
matter of fact, you've probably seen us on TV, haven't you, Daryl? We've been advertising on television for about the last 20 years, Senior Life,
yes,
Senior
yes.
Care Plan. That's us.
Okay,
We've become a very nationally recognized household name. Here's how you and Iris's policies are going to work. These are going to be funded with a permanent whole life plan. It's not going to be that term garbage that's eventually going to just cancel out and rates go up as you get older. This is a permanent whole life plan. The last age that a person can qualify or increase their death benefit is 85. It doesn't mean that when you turn 86 that the policy is going to go away. It just means that's the last age that you can apply or add more coverage to what you got. Now, Irish, you can go up to a $10,000 death benefit, which is fine because that's way more than enough than what you guys need.
okay,
Daryl, because you're disgustingly healthy, we can go from 5 up to 30,000 for you, okay? It's got an accidental death benefit rider, so check this out. Any way that you or Iris pass away other than natural causes, anything on the outside world that affected your death, a house fire, falling down a flight of stairs, a tornado, whatever, if your death occurs due to an accident-related event, it's going to double the face value. So if you've got a $10,000 natural death plan and a car accident, we'll just stick with that, and that took your life, it's going to pay Iris 10 plus another 10 on top of total
Okay.
20.
okay,
Once this thing goes into effect, it ain't changing. So the premium, the rate, it's never going up. The death benefit, it's never going down. The only way this can ever be canceled on you is if you stop paying the premium.
okay,
So it don't matter what age you or Iris live till. It don't matter if any changes to your health occur for the worse, especially for you, Daryl. Just keep the policy current and stay with y'all up until you die. Okay?
okay,
These policies do build a cash value, they do build a loan value that you can borrow money against, or if you ever fell in any financial struggles, it'll pay a premium as long as there's cash value built into the policy, but it does provide that feature. There's no medical exam that's required, so I've got a preliminary idea on your health history, and on the application you just answer a few thorough basic health questions and that's it. So no medical exam, no medical records, nothing like that. Most important part is that we pay most of our claims within the next day. Within 24 hours once we receive the appropriate paperwork. And Daryl, you understand why that's important, don't you?
Yeah, what would you need a certificate of death?
That's all we need.
Okay, that's what I think.
And funeral home, usually they'll sign an affidavit.
Yes,
We don't need a certified, we don't need the original copy.
okay.
So once we receive the necessary paperwork, then we'll pay that death claim the next day.
So
within
they will
24
get the
hours.
death certificate in
They
that,
don't even need that, they can just sign an affidavit.
okay, saying that
You-
they've got, you're there
Yes.
on the slab, right?
Yes, and then we'll pay that. You got it.
Okay,
And the only difference between you and Iris's plan is one, you've got an immediate death benefit plan. So let's say if you had a
Yeah.
$10,000 death benefit and that started today,
yeah,
and God forbid this happened, Daryl, but tomorrow you had a heart attack and you
yeah,
died.
yeah.
The only point I'm trying to make is even though that plan was in effect one day, it wouldn't matter. It'd still pay Iris the full 10 grand. Okay, so you're an immediate
Yeah,
plan.
yeah,
Your wife, on the other hand, is a little higher risk because of the dementia.
yes,
Okay, so
Okay.
we're gonna put her on the same shelf as somebody who's got cancer or heart problems, things of that nature.
okay,
So how her plan is gonna work is instead of, when you go into the funeral home and do a pre-need plan,
yeah,
and you start financing that plan, you're paying interest to the funeral home to keep your prices locked in.
yes, yes. that's
Instead
right.
of you and Iris, instead of her financing this program, we're gonna finance her for the first 3 years, the first 36 months. So with your wife's plan, how this works is that, and God forbid this happen, Iris, but if you were to die of natural causes within the next 36 months, and every single dime and every single penny that you invest into this, Daryl gets 100% of that back, plus a whole lot of interest. 10% interest. Okay?
Okay.
After the third year, then the full death benefit kicks in. Now, that's natural death. Accident ain't got nothing to do with Alzheimer's. An accident has nothing to do with cholesterol. An accident has nothing to do with your health at all. So going back to this right here, not only does the death benefit double, but it'll be a full death benefit from day one. God forbid if your death occurred due to an accident-related event within the next 3 years. Okay? So that's the only difference between you and Iris's plan. Now, the problem that most of my clients that we run into is the high cost of inflation. We all know that funerals, well, they cost twice as much today as what they did 10 years ago, right? And 10 years prior to that, they doubled again. I mean, it's a common fact that funerals have doubled in price literally every 10 years since the early 1900s. And Daryl, especially for you, you probably don't plan on dying today or tomorrow or next week, do you?
No.
Okay, you better not, or else we're going to make this a quick conversation. So let's say you live another 10, 15 years. Let's say you live another 15 years, now you're 90. Funerals then are going to be a whole lot more expensive than what they are today. So then instead of having an adequate amount of coverage to bury you today, you need to plan ahead for 15 years from now. And then the problem then is affordability. To be able to afford enough life insurance to cover you 15 years from now. Well, Senior Life recognized that problem, and they created a whole separate, kind of like a sister company called Legacy Assurance. Okay, so Legacy Assurance is the planning component to this program, and it serves 3 primary purposes. Here's how this works. First of all, funeral merchandise locked in at wholesale pricing forever. So Daryl, the best way to describe this is like a Costco of funeral merchandise. Okay, 70% of the total cost of the funeral is in the casket, the vault, and the headstone. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I would agree.
Okay. Legacy offers over 200 18 gauge caskets that you can pick from, and it don't matter which casket you choose from, you're locking at the wholesale price of $1,500 forever. Now, what do you think an 18 gauge casket typically retails for that these funeral homes are selling these for, Daryl?
I'd say $4,000, $5,000 maybe.
That's spot on, absolutely. The national average is around $5,000 for an 18 gauge casket. You've got a 16 gauge, you've got 18 gauge, you've got 20, 22, and 23 gauge. And the most common casket sold in America is an 18 gauge casket that these funeral homes sell anywhere from around about as low as $3,500, $4,000, and they can go well over $6,000. Daryl, it doesn't matter which one of these bad boys that you and Iris pick out, you're locking in at $1,500 forever. Now, even if you had this plan for just one single day, and God forbid something happened to you the very next day, that's about $3,000 to $4,000, Iris, on just the price of the casket alone that you're saving. Now, the longer that you folks live, the more that you all are going to end up saving through inflation. So you've got over 200 caskets to choose from. It includes a vault as well. Now, a vault, those typically retail somewhere around $2,000. This vault is a fiberglass vault. You're locking in at $750. You've got a 100-year warranty. And these things right here, they can withstand up to 20,000 pounds of top load pressure. My point of telling you that is just to let you know this ain't no cheap vault. This is a vault that you would probably pay somewhere around $2,000 to $3,000 for, but you're locking in at $750 on that one. And then last but not least, you have 3 different monument styles. You've got what they call a flat, you have a bevel, and then this one right here, you have the slant. And you have 3 different colors you can choose from. You got red, gray, or black, and then you and Iris, you all can customize this thing however you want. It both comes in single and companion. And I think you said you were interested in looking into purchasing your monument ahead of time.
Yes.
You're wanting to do like a companion monument.
Yes.
Daryl, have you taken the time to shop these things around? Do you know what those
No, I
typically
haven't.
sell for?
I'm afraid to ask.
I'd say probably somewhere around $5,000 as well for
I'd
that
say
for
that-
that
that
particular
makes
monument.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the most expensive monument for a companion. You and Iris are locking in at $1,450. Okay, you can customize this thing however you want. There's no additional cost for that. So tell me, would you agree or disagree that 70% of the total cost of the funeral is in those 3 items? Casket, the vault, and the headstone. Yes or no?
Yes, I would agree. That
Absolutely.
makes sense.
The casket alone, that's around $5,000. And when you look at the casket and you look at the vault or the monument, that alone between those 2, that's around 10 grand. And that's why these families are paying somewhere around $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 for the loved one's funeral because of the merchandise. So you and Iris, you both have that secured at $1,500 for the rest of your life. So there's $1,500 for the casket, there's $750 for the vault, and if you're looking at a companion monument, that's $1,450. So let's just say $1,500 and split it down the middle. That's $750 for each of you. So that comes out to about $3,000. That's where 70% of the total cost of the funeral right there is. You've got that locked in, secured, and ain't never changing. The next thing that we have is the wish team, where individuals seek help. So once you pick out your merchandise, once you pick out the casket, once you pick out the monument, what do you want? How do you want everything to be handled? From there, one of the things that I'm going to leave you and Iris is a memorial guide. And one of the homework assignments that I've got for both you and Iris is to start filling this out today, if all possible. See, this is real easy to procrastinate on. And I hope you agree with me, because we've been kind of dragging our feet on this for about 2 years. But this is where you need to give us and Legacy Assurance a track to run on. And I'm not going to insult your intelligence. We're not going to go through this line by line. But this is where you list out all the details as far as what do you and Iris want, how do you want everything to be handled, all the way down to the smallest detail of the flowers. Or if you decide you have a change of heart that you want a viewing, you want it open to the public, you want it private to the family, or if you don't want one at all, if you stick with that, then just put down none. No, I don't want a viewing, okay? So once you plan out the rest of your wishes and how you want everything to be handled, here's how the wish team works. When you do pass, you and Iris are going to have a membership card that's going to look like this. It's going to have your name on it. It's going to have your membership number on it. It's going to have the date that membership went into effect. So when you pass, before Iris's mind shuts down, because we know it's going to, 52 years of marriage, she just lost her husband, he ain't never coming back. Before that mind shuts down, she's going to reach in her wallet, she's going to pull out this card, she's going to call that 800 number, she's going to reference that membership number, and that's it. It's done.
Okay.
Everything else is going to be taken care of for her from that point moving forward. So what they do is they're going to step in and they're going to become the liaison between the funeral home and the family. Okay? We all know that people buy off of emotion, right? Whether you buy a car, or if you're buying a wedding dress, or you're buying a new home. But the most emotional purchase that exists in this world is taking care of your spouse, your mother, your father's funeral or cremation arrangements. And we all know that funeral homes are not non-for-profit organizations. They're in the business to make money. And I'm not saying that they're all crooks or evil or trying to take advantage of you, but the more money that people emotionally overspend, the more money that funeral home's going to make. So what happens is if you don't have a funeral home preference, that leaves the door wide open. What they're going to do is they're going to call 3 different funeral homes in and around the community that you or Iris chooses, which would probably be either here in Glencoe or probably over there in Egbert. Okay? And they're going to basically get these funeral homes to get a bidding war against each other to try to earn your business or to try to earn your son's business, Randy. So instead of emotionally overspending, what happens is the price keeps going lower and lower and lower until these funeral homes say, well, we can't go any lower than that. So once they're done with the negotiating process, they're going to review with Iris, here are all the funeral homes we spoke with, here are the final prices we ended up with, and then Iris makes the choice of which funeral home she wants to go with. So that's how the wish team works. It don't cost no $5,000 to dress the mortal remains, to rent a room for 4 hours, to have a viewing, to have services, and then drive you 15 miles down yonder to the cemetery. It don't cost that much. Typically, we can get it done for around $2,000, $2,500. But that's how the wish team works. The third component to this are the living benefits. We promote positive health. We promote good health. What's really cool about this program is you ain't got to die to use it. So, one of the 4 living benefits that you have access to, Daryl, is a prescription drug discount. So on the back of your card, you and Iris have the ability to save up to 80% on the prescription medications that you all are taking. And Iris, I know that you were taking medications, quite a few of them as a matter of fact. What I didn't do is I didn't ask you, do you have a co-payment or does your insurance, do they cover that entirely or do you have to pay out of pocket for that? How does that work on your medications?
I'd let Daryl answer that question.
It's out of pocket.
You pay out of pocket?
Yes, we pay out of pocket.
Okay. All right. Well, what we can do here in a few moments is we can check on the website and we can find out which pharmacy in and around this area is going to have the cheapest price using this prescription drug discount. And we'll probably be able to save you and Iris quite a bit of money on prescription medications, up to 80%. The other benefit, which is probably one of the most important right now, is the telehealth benefit. So you and Iris have access to a doctor by phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. And this is all administered through MEMD. So if you or Iris ever have a common cold, a sickness, runny nose, a cough, whatever it is, rather than going to the hospital or whether going to see your doctor or whether you go to the clinic where typically you have to pay out of pocket or you have to pay a co-payment, here you just pick up the phone and you call your doctor. Give them your symptoms right over the phone. It ain't going to cost you nothing. The doctor can even give you a diagnosis, and they also have the ability to prescribe the medication right over the phone. You can just go down to your local Walgreens or your pharmacy and pick it up. And anytime that they prescribe a medication, that's the only time, Daryl, that there's a cost associated with this. Other than that, You can call and talk to a doctor 20 times a day if you want to, Iris. Hey, doc, just want to see how you're doing today. All right, bad joke. You also have living benefits through Nations Hearing. So Iris, I recall you say you wear a hearing aid, right?
Yes.
So through Nations Hearing, you have a free annual hearing exam. So every year, there's not going to be any cost for that. And if you ever decided to upgrade your hearing aids, then there's a pretty liberal discount for that. And there's a 3-year warranty on like the battery and the merchandise for the hearing aids as well. And the last living benefit that you folks have is through PEDORS, which is more like arthritic and diabetic footwear. Compression socks, shoes, things of that nature. So that's how the living benefits work. Outside of that, Daryl, those are the membership benefits through Legacy Assurance and how that works and what it is that they do. So what I want to show you real quick is just a short 4-minute video, and that's all this thing is, guys. It's just 4 short minutes. But what this video is going to do is just kind of go in a little bit more detail in regards to Legacy and how it all works, and just kind of tie it all together, okay?
Well, we had a large family, there were lots of kids, and we never lacked for a playmate.
My mom's favorite thing was to grow fruits and vegetables and flowers. She loved her flowers.
Well, Dad was a craftsman, liked working with wood. So, naturally, I like working with wood.
John was a free spirit, and when he passed away, the family was left with this.
I can't begin to tell you how good that felt. Because I became a kid again. And I had my dad back.
What'd you think of that video, Daryl?
That was pretty touching.
Yeah. Indeed it was. So, Daryl, I guess what I want to know from you is, now that you and Iris understand how this program works and what it is that we actually do for each other and for your son, for both your boys, I guess what I want to know is, how's it going to make you feel knowing that when you die, or when Iris dies, it's all either one of you have to do or Randy has to do is make that one phone call, and that's it. Everything else will be taken care of for you folks from that point moving forward. How's it going to make you feel, Daryl?
That'll make me feel pretty good.
Indeed.
Don't have to worry about anything.
It's called peace of mind, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is.
I think after 2 years, I think it's time for you to start having some of that. Well, let's figure out which benefit that you and Iris want to apply for here and see if we can get you approved for. So I've got a few different options for you, okay? And Iris, did you want to see this or you want me to go over this with Daryl?
It's all right.
Okay. All right, Daryl, so I've got 3 different options here for you. I've got a $5,000 natural death protection plan, a $6,000 natural death protection plan, and then a $7,000 natural death protection plan. Now, as I had mentioned to you earlier, any way that you or Iris pass away other than natural causes, it's going to pay double. So the 5 in that case will pay 10, the 6 will pay 12, and the 7 will pay 14. Now, in the $5,000, this is a $5,000 plan for you. This is a $5,000 plan for Iris. This $145.49, that's for both you folks together. Okay, that's combined. For the $6,000 death benefit, that's a program for you and one for Iris. That's your total premium right there, $162.64. And then for the $7,000 death benefit, 2 plans, one for you and one for Iris, $14,000 if it's an accident. You're still under $200. Okay, so that comes down to about, I'd say $90 for the both of you. Now, Daryl, I can go up to $10,000 at least on Iris, and we go higher than that for you. Did you want me to show you a different option, a 4th option, or is this a pretty good range for now?
This is a good range right
Okay.
now.
Daryl, out of these 3, which one of those 3 makes the most sense? Do you want to try to apply
Well, the 5,000 makes the most sense because of the savings on the casket and the headstone and the vault.
I agree with that.
So,
That's exactly what I
I
was
mean,
thinking as
that,
well.
you get minimal coverage, but still look at what I'm saving for those 3 items right there.
Absolutely. I agree with that. All right. Well, let me get a little bit more information from you, Daryl. All right. So your middle name, we'll just go ahead and put down your middle initial.
L.
Okay. What's your social? And your address is P.O. Box what now?
It's not P.O. Box. It's
10, 108.
1089
09.
1809 Burkhart Road.
10809. Is it East Burkhart?
Yes, East Burkhart.
Road?
Yep. What?
I thought it was west.
No,
But you're
honey.
right, it's what, it's,
No, it's
Zip code here.
74032.
32.
74032.
Phone number.
580
Mm-hmm.
669 2491.
Email address.
Darrell Westfall, DARRELL WSTFALL at att.net.
Okay. We're going to set up a security password for you, which will be your mother's maiden name. What is We're going to list Iris as your primary.
Yes.
Okay, that phone number again, 580.
669 2491.
And who do you want to list as a backup? God forbid if something happened to both you folks at the same time. Who do you want to put next in line? That'd be Randy?
Yeah.
And what's a good phone number for Randy?
I would have to look that up. I haven't got it memorized. 314-249-3877
Gotcha.
is a good one for Randy.
Okay.
Yes.
And you say you don't have any other existing life insurance, right?
No.
Okay. All right. Daryl, who's your primary doctor? First and last name?
I know.
This is good, honey, because if something did happen to me, you won't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
Just, he'll know what,
and you'll know what to do with me.
he'll know what to do with you, okay?
Stillwater.
Don't you agree?
I,
You won't have to worry about any of this.
Daryl. So we're on to the health questions. So I'm just going to read these over. You can follow along with me. All I'm going to ask is just answer these health questions to the best of your ability and your belief, okay?
Okay?
So first question is an obvious no. You're not currently hospitalized, confined to a nursing facility. You're not receiving hospice care. Obviously, you're able to take care of yourself. You're not terminally ill. You're not in jail. And you haven't been hospitalized 2 or more times in the past 5 years. Do you expect to be admitted to a hospital or nursing facility? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, you don't have HIV infection or AIDS-related complex. You
No.
don't have AIDS caused by the HIV.
No.
Okay. Past 6 months, have you experienced any unexplained weight loss or weight gain?
No.
Okay. The past 5 years, have you used any form
No.
of tobacco or nicotine product or had a blood pressure reading over 135/85 that you know of?
No.
Okay. Past 10 years, they want to know if you've been advised or recommended to have any tests, surgery, or hospitalization which has not been received or completed, or has your doctor advised you to take any prescription medications and you have not been compliant?
No.
Okay. This is the longest question here, past 10 years. They want to know if you've had any of these things, if you've been treated for any of these things, received medical advice, or prescribed medication for, or been diagnosed with any of the following, starting with uncontrolled diabetes, including any complications from such, uncontrolled high blood pressure, stroke, paralysis, cancer, any heart, organ, or lung disease, which includes COPD or emphysema, any mental disorder, retardation, disorder of the brain or nervous system, any impairment, disorder, disease, transplant, or chronic illness.
No.
Okay. Last question. You better answer no to this. You haven't used any illegal drugs, been treated for drug
No.
alcohol abuse, been advised by a physician to reduce alcohol consumption, or been noted to excessively consume alcohol, or, Daryl, in 72 years, have you been arrested for any reason?
No.
All right.
Never have.
Good for you.
Don't drink.
Okay. Okay. Daryl, if you could, you or Iris, could you guys go grab the checkbook for me real quick? I appreciate it.
Okay.
Is the account on both you folks' name?
Do what? Yes.
Okay.
First is where we keep our savings account.
You can't do it, depends on the
All this, it's just ran. Yeah, here it is.
So you could make that out to 4843, the senior life. Excuse me, 4443. 4443, Daryl, I apologize.
44,
43.
44, 43.
Make it out to senior life insurance.
Okay.
Daryl, since you and Iris get paid on so many different dates, from your social to her social to your pension, what day of the month would you want your due date to fall on? What time of the month? The early part of the month, the middle part of the month, the end of the month? Do you have a preference?
The end of the month.
Okay. 25th?
That'll be fine.
Okay. Here, I'll help you with that.
I have to hold that thing right before they're hard to get out without ripping it. There we go.
Thank you. All right, Daryl, I need 2 signatures from you. This one right here is saying that you answered those health questions honestly to the best of your ability. Anywhere inside this white box, just use your finger. Try not to use your nail. Not too shabby, Mr. Westfall.
Yeah.
Okay. This one right here is for the monthly recurring billing. That's a keeper. Want to see my handwriting? Here's my signature. There you go.
Yeah. I know. It don't matter, they don't check that stuff anymore.
All right.
Where you going?
Hold on just a second, Iris.
Honey?
Oh,
Not quite done yet. Just go over a few things with you real quick. All right. Iris, your turn. Okay, Iris, if you could just go ahead and sign the iPad right there twice. Just use your finger.
Use your finger.
There you go.
There you go.
Good job.
There you go, you got a good job, you got it.
All right.
Good job.
Okay,
I hear you.
thank you. All right, guys. I have a basket of goodies that I'm going to leave you here. And Daryl, everything I'm going to leave you is I'm going to put inside this nice handy dandy folder.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay,
The first thing that I'm going to leave you and Iris are your memorial guides. And as I said to you earlier, this is priority number one. This is a primary homework assignment. I've got one for you, and I've got one for Iris. I mean, wishes might be different. She might want a viewing, you probably don't. But this right here is individual, so we know the details of what do you want, so we know what to negotiate for. Okay? Does that make sense? Daryl, this is a brochure on legacy assurance. Okay, this highlights everything that I've already went over with you. And on the back side here, you've got Legacy Assurance's website. So you don't have to wait until you get your membership kits to come in the mail. If you and Iris, as early as tonight or tomorrow, wanted to go on Legacy Assurance's website and start looking at the caskets to figure out which one you want, you have all the ability to do that. Okay. And this is a brochure on senior life. It just highlights a little bit about the insurance company and how your policies work. Just gives you good reading material. But the most important thing that I'm going to leave you is this right here. Give me just a second. Let me fill this out for you, Daryl. It's been a long day.
yeah, been out working, watching Randy work.
Gotcha. Sounds like you got an incredible son.
Well, he put in a good day today.
Did he?
Yes, he did, and I appreciated it.
See, how much was that for? 443. What is today's date, Daryl?
31st, I
Is
think.
it the 31st?
Yes, I put everything on the 31st, so I'll put the 31st.
Okay. Daryl, this is a policy summary. Shows that the members are both you and Iris. Your wishes are for burial, not for cremation. As of right now, this really doesn't matter. I went ahead and put no for the viewing, but we can change this at any time.
yes.
It's irrelevant. The merchandise that will apply for you and Iris are both the casket, the vault, and the monument. Now for the death benefit, again, you selected the $5,000. So just an example, and God forbid, something happened tonight,
Yeah.
you're covered. The full $5,000 would pay out to your wife. An accident will pay out a full $10,000.
Okay.
And here's the breakdown. It's a total of $48.43, but because Legacy Assurance is a whole separate company,
Yes.
what you're going to see on your monthly bank statements is $44.43 through Senior Life, and you'll see $4 for Legacy Assurance. Okay, so because it's two separate companies, that's why you're going to see two different transactions, but the lion's share of that is Senior Life, $4 for Legacy. So in 2 weeks, Daryl, you're going to receive your actual life insurance policy from Senior Life, and this is what it's going to look like. Daryl, when you get your policy, open it up, read through it. Main thing is make sure I've got everything correct, and if you see anything inside this policy you've got a question on, something we need to make a change towards, that's what I'm here for. Give me a call. Now, in about 3 to 4 weeks from today, is when you're gonna get your Legacy Assurance membership kit. And I'll show you what that thing looks like. Does that look familiar?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what you're gonna look for about a month from now. And once you open up this puppy, inside this membership kit, right here is where you and Iris's membership cards will be. That'll have your membership number. So just be on the lookout for that. 2 weeks, 4 weeks. Got it?
Got it.
Okay. And since you remitted an actual payment, Daryl, let me write you out a receipt. All right. So this shows that you remitted a premium payment of $44.43 to Senior Life. This is for the life of Daryl Westfall for the above super preferred whole life plan, which is the best ag plan that you can apply for in this country. Shows today's date with my signature. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And Daryl, Iris, you folks are all set. Okay. So what y'all got going on for the rest of the evening? Anything exciting?
We're gonna take our visitor and kicking out the door in the morning.
Yeah, we have a visitor. We're gonna kick him out the door in the morning.
It sounds like this Randy fellow that
Yeah.
was helping you all day
That
today.
boy
So
go,
is
but
that
I
the one
appre-
you're going to kick out here pretty
Yeah,
soon?
appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for the help, Randy. See you later.
Yeah. Come back when the grass gets higher.
Gotcha. How often does your son visit?
Well, not often enough.
No?
Too far away.
So how far of a drive is that from where he lives to here?
It's a long drive. It's on the other side of St. Louis.
Oh, is it really?
So it's about
Is it about 7.5 hours?
7.5, 8
Yeah,
hours.
it's kind of a commute.
Takes me about 9 because we stop and eat.
Yeah. Well, you got to stop and eat, use the bathroom, and
Yes.
take your time.
Yep.
Rather get there in one piece than not at all, right?
Yep.
I got you. Okay. Well, Daryl, I want to say thank you to you and Iris for giving me an opportunity to serve as your agent advisor. Once you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And anytime somebody gives me an opportunity to serve as their agent, they're giving me their trust, and I don't take that for granted. More importantly, I want to say thank you for not just protecting each other, but for protecting your boys and making sure that the hardest, most difficult day of their life is going to be just a little bit more tolerable. And so thank you guys for that. Outside of that, Daryl, I almost forgot to leave you the most important thing, a handful of my business cards, okay? So I've got one for you and I got one for Iris here. And I'm going to leave you a few extra, okay? Make sure that you give one of these to Randy. Okay, I'm going to always serve as your agent. Anytime that you or Iris or anybody has a question, you have a concern, you need to make a change, that's what I'm here for. And it's got both my office number and it's got my cell phone number. And Daryl, don't ever hesitate to give me a call on my cell phone.
Okay.
Okay? Making that promise?
Yep.
Outside of that, all you got to do is just remember that on the 25th of each month, update your checkbook ledger to show for that monthly premium payment of $48.43, and just keep that thing current.
48, no problem. We'll do.
And this thing will be here for the day that your family's going to need it the most. All right?
Do it till the day I die.
There you go.